Hey everyone. Today I want to talk a little bit about some updates that I'm seeing as a VA disability benefits attorney. So let's get into it. My name's Andy Gross of Guidon Law. We used to be known as the Law Office of Andrew P. Gross. That's still our name officially, but we go by Guidon Law because we wanted to promote the brand as a team of individuals. And I've hired and we've hired a bunch of individuals over the last year, incredibly talented people to help us with the process. I'm recording this video in early fall 2024, but I want to talk about how things have changed in the almost 8 years that I've been in this line of work. When I got into this line of work a couple years ago, we were still what's known in the legacy process, right? This is the prior to 2019. Right here in Maryland, where I am, if you received a decision you didn't like, you would file a notice of disagreement, and then anywhere between 1 to 3 years later, you would get a statement of the case. And you think, well, this is where my appeal ends, and they make a decision on my appeal. Not so fast. What would then happen is you only had 60 days to file a Form 9, which would send to the Board of Veterans Appeals. And then you would wait between 2 and 4 years for a BVA or Board of Veterans Appeals decision. So the entire appeals process could take anywhere from 2 to 7 years, if not longer. I had some cases actually that started long before they came to me, and we were on year 15 of the appeals process. So it can really drag on. And in 2019, Congress passed a law which was then signed into law by President Trump at the time, called the Appeals Modernization Act. And there were a lot of people who were skeptical about this in my line of work, but I actually liked it. And that created the 3 lanes, right? You could either do a higher level review where they would just review on the evidence that was in the file at the time of the decision. You could do a supplemental claim adding new and material evidence, or you could file to the Board of Veterans Appeals. And that presented a huge opportunity to really speed up the appeals process, because now I could file something on a higher level review, and within anywhere between 30 to 90 days, I could get a decision on something, and it could either be new exams or maybe even a higher rating. It just depends on what the facts said at the time. You filed a supplemental claim, things could take a little bit longer, but the point is that it really sped up the process. If you filed to the Board of Veterans Appeals, well, you just went straight to the board. You could either submit new evidence or have a hearing, but you were looking to wait. At the time, they were telling us a year. It turns out that was malarkey. And it's actually closer to 3 to 4 years of a wait time unless you get advanced on the docket, but I digress. But the benefit here is that you could really dig in to this process at what they called the regional office, where you could do a higher level review, which would then sometimes turn into a supplemental claim if there was a duty to assist error. And then on that decision, you could file another higher level review. And then you could file a supplemental claim. And you could go back and forth until you got the answer you wanted. And it would only take, well, I don't want to say it'd only take 2 to 3 years, but it could take far less time than had you gone to the Board of Veterans Appeals under the legacy system. So in late 2019, early 2020, 21, 22, the process was moving lightning quick. And you could, if you didn't get the answer you wanted, you could go back and forth many times until you got the answer that was appropriate. And then you could save the really sticky issues to go to the Board of Veterans Appeals. And this was great, right? We were taking cases left and right and moving them very quickly through the process so that we could get decisions in and out and hopefully get people what they wanted. Then COVID hit, and we were using a special extension to the rule where we could actually get additional time to file our appeals, which was great. That's gone though. That ended in 2023. Then the PACT Act came along. This was a huge expansion of benefits, but also meant a lot of people were applying for benefits for the first time, and the VA was having a heck of a time. They're still having a hard time processing these PACT Act claims. It also added what's called the TARA requirement, where the toxic exposure risk activity, if you were exposed to some sort of toxin while you were on active duty, the VA had a duty to investigate that and to see if your medical condition was related to that toxic exposure. Again, I've made some videos on these, and these are a little bit more complicated, but again, it added a lot of work to the back end. The challenge, though, is that it really extended the time frame that some of these cases were taking. The other thing is that at the same time, the VA hired a bunch of new people, and we're taking people right off the street and putting them in what's called RVSR, or Rating Veteran Service Representatives jobs, meaning that they were basically making decisions on claims. And it also meant that they expanded contractor-based claim and pension exams, and the quality of those went down tremendously. So right now, we're looking at a system where folks are getting the worse exams, more people are looking for worse exams, and they're being reviewed by people who are less qualified than they've ever been. So you can see why that could create like the perfect storm of problems in the process. The next thing is that there's been a proliferation of influencers. And I know it's ironic. I'm here on YouTube talking about VA disability, but you're probably seeing a whole bunch of these claims consultants and gurus, people who are unaccredited but somehow feel that they have the authority to speak on these things because they got their buddy service connected and now they can go on YouTube, and if they can build up their channel, they can make a quick buck, right? Or various consulting programs that are not legal and charging veterans tens of thousands of dollars to file initial claims. So there's a huge proliferation of these content creators now putting this bad information out there, and folks are just filing claims left and right. So there's also a lowered quality of claim because a lot of these claims consultants make it look easy, and it's not. VA disability itself is easy. It's actually kind of simple when you think about it though, right? VA disability is there's something wrong with you now because of something that happened in service. But it's the VA that makes things complicated, especially when we have the situation that I just described. An influx of new claims, lower quality claim and pension examiners, and a bunch of inexperienced individuals reviewing these things. They've also been put on a time crunch to review these things, so their standards have gone down across the board. Where does this leave us in the fall of 2024? Well, my thinking of how to pursue claims has kind of evolved since the Appeals Modernization Act was passed in 2019. Back in 2020, 21, 22, and even 23, I was thinking, okay, we're going to go back and forth, putting in new evidence and just getting the process going until we get the answer we want at the regional office. And this might mean going higher level review to supplemental claim to higher level review and back again. I've really pulled back from that. And my thought process is that sometimes you just need the Board of Veterans Appeals to take a look. Now, the problem with that is that we know the Board of Veterans Appeals has a long backlog, 3 to 4 years at times. You're sitting there going, but Andy, I have to wait 3 to 4 to 5 years to get my VA disability? Yeah, sometimes that's the case. Prior to the AMA, it was between 4 to 7 or even more years. So it's still gotten better, but it's still pretty bad. And I have been lobbying the VA through my advocacy group individually to improve the process. I've been lobbying for more claims clinics to get claims started on the right foot to begin with. And I've been trying to put out and trying to cut through some of the nonsense out there to kind of help people understand the process so that they can work on their own claim and maybe get their claim to a better place before they need to hire somebody. And maybe they never need to hire somebody to take their appeal to the next level. So with that said, I wanted to give this update, talk about a little bit about the struggles and how the process has changed, how my thought process has changed on how we practice. We still do regional office appeals. We still do higher level reviews. We still do supplemental claims, but sometimes you just got to take it to the Board of Veterans Appeals and have them sort out things like proper effective dates and so on. I can't tell you where you belong in that process, and each individual process is different, and it really depends on a really thorough assessment of the case, which is why I tell my new clients, listen, I don't have an answer for you on day one. It's going to take me time to review your file, see where you're at, see what evidence is missing, see what evidence we can put in there, and figure out what are the next steps for us in your case based on your needs. Not every case is the same. I hope this fall 2024 update shed some light on things, probably frustrated a bunch of people, and for that I'm sorry. The process is a mess. In the end of the day though, all you can do is keep fighting. If you know you're entitled to something, keep fighting for it until you get the answer you want. Until next time, take care.